The House of Representatives has passed a piece of legislation that would allow Puerto Rico to vote on whether they want to be a state or two other options that we'll read about in a second here from Yahoo News. The House passed legislation on Thursday that would give Puerto Rico the opportunity to redefine its status as a U.S. territory. I must note up front, this is likely not going to actually happen because the Senate will have to pass it, and I can't imagine 10 Republicans would get on board, but we'll see. So this is just an interesting move almost for the optical reason and public pressure reason, but not because it'll actually necessarily happen. The legislation, which secured bipartisan support, would allow Puerto Ricans to vote for one of three avenues. And these are the three things they would be voting on: independence, statehood, or sovereignty and free association with the U.S. Countries like Micronesia fall into the third category, making them independent but bound to certain diplomatic and defense agreements with the United States. So they can be independent, they can be a state of the United States if this were to become law, and the third option would be sovereign but in free association with the United States. Interesting. And I think this is a great move. I think this is actually what should have been done a long time ago, and for sure something that is correct. Unfortunately, again, I don't think it'll be passed in the Senate. But take a look at Democratic Representative Richie Torres speaking to this.
As a Puerto Rican, I'm proud to have voted for the Puerto Rico Status Act, which, if enacted, would begin to break the cycle of colonialism that for more than a century has relegated Puerto Rico to second-class status. The landmark legislation would empower Puerto Rico to be in command of its own political destiny. What matters above all is not the particular status that the people will ultimately choose. What matters is the right of the people to choose the status that best expresses their will, and the right of the people to have their will given the binding power it has long deserved. If enacted, the Puerto Rico Status Act would not only restore democracy on the island, it would also reinforce democracy here in the mainland United States, because it would mean no longer depriving 3 million of our fellow citizens of their fundamental right to self-determination. I call on the Senate to join the People's House in decolonizing the people of Puerto Rico.
Really great. And then I'll show you here, AOC was actually presiding over the House when this got passed. Take a look.
133. The nays are 191. The bill is passed.
There you go. So, I mean, for too long, these issues, and there's more than just Puerto Rico that should be addressed, but Puerto Rico being one of them, where we really are not giving the proper representation and self-determination to these territories. And so I love this move, and I think it's absolutely correct. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before any of the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get a full extra show every single Saturday, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley, and there's a link in the description.